Good morning, Elaine. So what do we got going on today?
So I'm building end tanks for the intercooler.
Gotcha.
So this is our air-to-water intercooler. Pretty sweet setup. It'll basically sit in the car something about like that. I'm going to have a nice shallow end tank here. And then we'll have our water inlet and outlet on this side. And this will be an open tank. And this one will be a divided for the in and then the out. I'll put a bleed port about right here on it to go to our header tank. And then we'll work on mounting this to the frame rail in the car. And then Dom's supposed to be showing up shortly with all the plans for the CFD end tanks. Then we're good to go. So when he gets there with those, then I'll start building those. But for now, we'll be doing the water tanks.
One thing what we did, which actually was really cool, is we had another one of these plugs that's somewhere now. But we, so that we didn't lose track of where we were on the plug, we took it all apart but left all the pins in it, and then pulled one wire out of a certain location, saw where it was on the Japanese harness diagram, which is this one, saw where it went to, pulled it out and stuck it into the US harness diagram here into the right position. And then we just went from each one, doop, and over. It took us like 4 or 5 hours to do that on Saturday. And then the 6-cylinder also comes with a brown plug that has the knock sensors, the cam and crank sensors, and something else in it. And luckily there was enough available in this one. Oh yeah, there it is. So this was the one that was on this engine, and this was on another engine.
On a JDM harness.
Yeah, the JDM harness that we had that was extra. So we pulled everything out of it. It was empty just like this, and then we just pulled one out and just went, one by one and populated it off of the diagrams. And everything that was in this plug
was in this little harness.
In this little harness. We ended up pulling all those out, changing all the pins on it, and sticking it in the back of this guy. So it was a good time, but right now, coil 6 and the left-hand solenoid are wired together. So I think I'm going to just pull the 2 wires out for that one out of here, and then tee them into the ones for this one, since I'm operating the coil system or the lift system on one output anyways, and simultaneously. So I'm just going to pull these 2 pins out, find the 2 that go to this one, and then splice them together. And then that will put coil 6 by itself again. And then we'll actually have, I think, 1 output available after that. Not that we were low on outputs, we were only low on inputs. So
Yeah, we're low on inputs. There is no need to call me ever again for any reason ever. You done been shrunk? Oh, hey.
So, you obviously did some stuff over the weekend.
Just a little bit. Got the heat exchanger mounted. Kind of got the hoses routed. This is actually a heat exchanger for a C5 Corvette. So we're just kind of utilizing stuff we got here. It does fit actually reasonably well. The lower grill slat in the bumper is about here, so it's going to work out pretty good.
And then you got the hose this ran.
Yep. Yeah, the hoses are, well, they're to where they should be. They still need a couple of fittings to actually connect them up, but they go in the general direction they're supposed to. Kevin got our new fan shroud on, so that's actually loaded up with fans, all ready to go. And then, what else?
I believe last time we were recording, we were also working on the plenum for all that.
Yeah, we were working on it. This is now actually completed and where it goes. So that's all done, fully welded up, ready to go.
We got the underneath bracket that you were making.
Yep, that one's all done. Holes are drilled. This is our intercooler pump for our air-to-water system. That's all mounted, so which is cool because I get to use this as more than just one thing. It also is in a really nice spot for the plug is in a good spot. It's not going to get water in it or damaged or anything. It's in a nice spot, so that's always working. I built a reservoir for the cooling system, not the engine cooling system, but the actual intercooling system. That's just an overflow tank with a high point on it. We are going to put a fitting off of this corner here that will run over to this little port here, so that this is constantly bleeding any air in case it gets air in it or has, you know, any sort of a leak. We don't have to go through the process of you know, refilling and making sure this is all full, taking this out, holding it upright and all that. It'll just bleed itself all the time.
Gotcha.
We got our TSS subframe in, we could have ran the exhaust how it was, using the existing up pipe hole, but because of the 6-cylinder is slightly longer, or actually the back cylinders are actually closer to the bell housing. It was pretty tight for a 3-inch pipe there, and we wanted to leave the EZ30 as factory as possible. We could have moved that hose, but instead of doing that, we decided to go with the subframe because we were actually going to do this anyway for oil pan clearance. So we just went ahead and did that beforehand, and now we have plenty of room to run the down pipe, up pipe. So.
And then you also got the wiring done as well, right?
Yes, we did get the wiring done. It is basically plug it in and turn it on now. We 3D printed our header flange. Something happened a little bit where this hole's a little bit off, but we'll get that taken care of when we cut the actual one out of steel. The headers are all designed in CAD. Those are supposed to be, well, Dom's done with them, but those will be taken care of probably later this afternoon. And then come back up to here. And this is our conversion harness. So all we did was take all of the inputs and outputs from the EZ30 itself and actually pinned it to a STI plug. So the EZ30 has this plug originally. It has another plug for like cam, crank, and all, you know, a separate plug for all the sensors. So we did have to jumper a couple wires over, but basically this will plug directly into an STI, and the inputs and outputs are all there for that AVLS, the AVCS, the 5th and 6th injector and coil plug or coil pack. All the drive-by wires now ran through this plug using all factory wires. This is actually this is basically the star of the show here. So this is the star of the show. This is our plug-and-play harness for our M-Tron ECU. And this is what will house us to basically plug our M-Tron into here. The factory ECU plug just plugs right into there. And in the M-Tron, we just change, like say, TGV motor output to be a AVCS solenoid. So that's just in the computer. We had to swap a couple wires in here just to make it work with the 6-cylinder, but that was super easy. It also has enough inputs to run a pre-intercooler IAT, after intercooler IAT, and all of our flex fuel and everything all through the factory stuff. It also allows, because we are using a plug-and-play harness, we get to use the SI drive that comes factory on the car. So this will have, you know, boost targets and everything based off the SI drive, just like a factory STI would. So pretty trick stuff. Swing a ding a ding up. Swing a ding a ding dong.